Hi guys, this is Dr. Pangelinen, and in this lecture I'm going to talk about the 5th skill module of the Special Olympics Young Athletes program, throwing. At the end of this lecture, students will understand the activities in the throwing skills module. You'll learn how to observe children's movements while they're performing the different activities in the module. And for the students in groups 13 through 16, you'll develop activities to build upon the skills trained in this module. The goals for this module include helping children become more proficient at throwing, which is an important skill for many sports and activities. Throwing can take the form of rolling or throwing with one or two hands. This can be done underhand or overhand. Throwing requires strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination. Children first learn to grip and let go of objects. They can then toss objects that are light and small. If a child can easily lift a ball over their head with two hands, then the ball is the right size. The picture on the right is all of the activities for this module. I will go through each of these activities in terms of the goals and modifications or progressions. We'll then watch the videos of children doing each activity. The first activity is called bowling. This activity is listed as optional in the activity guide. For this activity, the coach or parent can create a bowling lane with two balance beams, sticks, or tape. Pins can be made with stacking cups, plastic bowling pins, or empty bottles. The children will roll a ball to knock down the pins. The goal is to practice rolling the ball for accuracy. Now let's watch a video of a child participating in this activity. In the first video, the child pushed the ball from a seated position. In the second video, it looked like the child rolled the ball down from his feet and pushed the balls to knock over the pins. Another alternative is to have the child spread his or her legs and roll the ball between his or her legs like a granny-style underhand toss. The only issue with this type of technique is that children sometimes don't bend down low enough to roll the ball on the floor and the ball is launched in the air. The second activity is called train tunnel. The goal is to practice rolling the ball for accuracy with two hands. For this activity, the children will stand in a line with their legs spread apart to make a tunnel. One child will face the line and will roll the ball through the tunnel. The ball will not likely make it all the way through the tunnel. The child closest to the ball will pick up the ball and continue to roll the ball through the tunnel. Let's watch a video of children participating in this activity. In the video, the children are spaced out a bit. They roll the ball under the legs to the next person and push the ball towards the next person in line on their way back. Then they roll the ball forward back through the line. The activity guide provides tips for observation. Since throwing and catching are closely linked, these skills are commonly practiced together. The third activity is called two-handed underhand toss. For this activity, the child will bend his or her knees and hold the ball with two hands. The child will look at the coach or parent's hands and do an underhand toss to the coach or parent. The child can begin with a beach ball or other light ball that's easy to catch. As a child progresses in skill, the child can toss the ball into a basket, over a low barrier, or through a hoop. The children can progress into using regular playground balls or a basketball. The goal is for children to practice looking where they want to toss the ball, to bend the knees when tossing, and to toss the ball for accuracy. The activity guide provides recommendations for group play. The children can sit in a circle and underhand toss the ball to each other. Let's watch the video of this activity. The child looks at the coach and tosses the beanbag with two hands. The child doesn't catch the beanbag when it's thrown back to him by the coach. For children that have difficulty with catching, using beanbags prevents a lot of lost time trying to get the ball if the child doesn't catch it. The fourth activity is called one-hand underhand toss. The goal of this activity is for children to practice looking at the goal or target bending the knees and stepping when tossing the ball, and tossing the ball with one hand for accuracy. For this activity, the child will stand with knees bent, holding a ball or beanbag with one hand. The child can use a small ball like a tennis ball or a beanbag. The child will look at the hands of the coach or parent and underhand toss the beanbag or ball with one hand. Similar to the previous activity, as the child progresses, the child can toss the ball into a basket, over a low barrier, or through a hoop. The activity guide provides recommendations for healthy play. The coach or parent can use food-shaped beanbags or beanbags with photos of food taped to them. The children can toss the beanbag into a healthy hoop or basket and an unhealthy hoop or basket based on the food. Let's watch a video of this activity. The child in this video stands on a floor marker and is able to toss the beanbag with one hand through the hoop. One modification I would make as a child increases proficiency is to practice taking a step with the opposite or contralateral foot when tossing the ball or beanbag. The fifth activity is called two-handed overhand throw. For this activity, the child will stand with one foot in front of the other, hip-width apart, and will be encouraged to rock forward and back. As the child rocks to the back foot, have them raise their arms up and overhead. When rocking forward, have the child bring his or her arms forward to throw the ball. The goal is to break down the movement into smaller steps to help children practice two-hand overhand throwing. Again, as a child improves in skill, he or she can throw the ball into a basket, over a barrier, or through a hoop. Let's watch a video of this activity. In the video, the child is standing on a floor marker. He is very excited and is jumping around. He is able to throw the ball over his head to the coach. It's important to note that throwing for distance or force has a slightly different movement pattern than throwing for accuracy. With that said, this type of activity could be used to practice both types of overhand throwing skills. The sixth activity is called one-handed overhand throw. For this activity, the coach or parent will use the same technique as a two-hand overhand throw. The child will use one hand, bring their arm back and forward overhead to throw a small ball like a tennis ball or a beanbag towards the coach or parent. As the child progresses in skill, he or she can throw the ball into a basket, over a barrier, or through a hoop. Let's watch a video of this activity. The first child throws the beanbag to the coach. She doesn't show a very proficient form. Her backswing is over her head and her elbow is up rather than down and back. She also doesn't step when she's throwing. The second child is throwing for accuracy. He has good follow through and his eyes are glued to the target. The activity guide provides tips for observation. With tossing and throwing, encourage children to step forward with the opposite or contralateral foot as the arm that is throwing. This contralateral step is critical to getting the kids to generate momentum, which will translate into greater force production. The contralateral foot step enables a child to use their lower body, twist their trunk, and their arm together. The seventh activity is called target practice. The coach or parent can tape pictures to the wall at different heights to serve as targets. The targets can reinforce concepts like shape, color, animals, healthy habits, and other topics. Use floor markers to encourage proper foot placement. The child will stand on these floor markers and throw small balls or beanbags at the targets. The goal of this activity is to use good form in terms of foot placement and to increase accuracy when throwing overhand with one hand. Let's watch a video of this activity. The children take turns tossing beanbags into a hoop oriented like a basketball hoop. As the children progress, the floor markers can be moved further from the target. The 8th activity is called Shoot to Score Basketball. The children can stand in a circle around an adult who is holding a hoop or a basket. The children can pass the ball around the circle. The child who ends up with the ball should shoot the ball into the hoop for a point. The goal of this activity is to practice shooting for accuracy. It also encourages group play and passing. Let's watch a video of children doing this activity. The children take turns passing the ball to each other, and the last child shoots the ball into the hoop. Again, as the children progress, they can be moved further apart, so they need to toss and catch the ball before shooting into the hoop. Okay, in preparation for the quiz, you should all know the goals and modifications for each of these activities. For those of you in groups 13 through 16, you can meet with your group to pick one of these activities in the module that you would like to modify for your group projects. Again, you can change the equipment or instructions or rules, but the general goal of the activity should be the same as the original activity. Your task card will need to incorporate simple images and text to describe your new activity. Please make sure to follow the examples provided on Canvas. Please feel free to email me if your group would like to meet to discuss your activity in advance, or if you have any questions about the material covered in this lecture.